So thank you for the invitation and welcome everybody. If you can't see very well, please feel free to move your chair so that you can see better. Yeah. Okay. So rejuvenate your life. That's our topic. But you're all young. Because we're all young in comparison to somebody else, right? Yeah, and we're all old in comparison to somebody else. And this microphone keeps growing closer and closer to my nose. Don't tell him I'm moving. Okay, so we'll start out with a little bit of meditation this morning. Okay. Before we do the meditation, to help us set our motivation and so on, we'll do the refuge and bodhicitta prayer. Refuge tells us, refuge is affirming what spiritual path we're following, and we're the students of the Buddha Dharma Sangha, and bodhicitta is the aspiration to attain full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. And that is why we're practicing this path. So these two things are very important at the beginning of anything we do. What path we're following and why we're following it. Because if we aren't clear about this, then somebody says, well, what path are you following? Well, Monday night I follow Buddhism, and Tuesday night I do Taoism. Wednesday night I'm Islam. Thursday night I'm Christian. Friday night I'm not sure. Oh, I'm Jewish. It's Shabbat. Shabbat. Even Saturday, who shall I be? Oh, Saturday I do crystals, and make sure all my crystals are aligned, because that will lead me to full awakening. So what happens when we're like this, we make what one of my teachers called soup. Yeah, our spiritual practice is soup. It's like you have carrots and you have celery and some potatoes and many things mixed together. So we do the same thing with our spiritual practice. We take a little bit from everything. We don't understand any of it very well. Put it together, stir it up, and do whatever we want. Yeah. So we get very confused then about, what are we actually training our mind in? Yeah, what direction are we going in our spiritual practice? Yeah, so this is one reason why it's important to attend Dharma teachings and to study and read the Dharma books, because when we learn about the Buddha's teachings, then we know what we're following. Yeah, and it just isn't some soup that we've cobbled together. And then bodhicitta is, why are we doing this? And it says, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. So that is a very, very noble motivation. I mean, I would say it's the most noble and highest motivation we could ever have in our life. Yeah, to be of benefit to sentient beings, and to recognize that if we attain full awakening, or when we attain full awakening, we'll be best able to be of benefit to sentient beings. Yeah, we may have the wish to benefit others now, but if our mind is totally uncontrolled and we don't even know the path, and we haven't practiced the path ourselves, then what benefit can we be? It becomes like the blind leading the blind, yeah, and we're not going to get very far, okay? So, you know, this is our motivation, and it relates, our motivation of bodhicitta relates to our refuge in the three jewels, okay? Because we follow the Buddha's path because we want to become a fully enlightened Buddha, yeah? We respect the Buddha's qualities, honor them, and we want to develop them in ourselves. So Buddhism isn't a path where we just sit and pray to some external being, yeah? You know that? Some people kind of do business with the Buddha, the way they pray, yeah? Like they go to temple, yeah, Buddha, 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 first request, first prayer, Buddha, 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 may I win the lottery, yeah? That's the most important thing in their mind, to win the lottery and have a lot of money. Okay, yeah. Then the second thing, may my son marry a good girl, a nice girl. May my daughter marry a nice boy. May both of them have well-paying jobs with a lot of status in society, yeah. So that everybody looks at me and knows I'm such a good parent. Yeah, that's the next request, right? Yeah, and then you say, okay, Buddha, I prayed for those things. When I win the lottery, I will make an offering to the temple. When my son and daughter get married to the people I approve of, then I'll make an offering to the temple. In other words, Buddha, I'm employing the Buddha, and Buddha, you do your work first, then I'll pay you. Okay, I'm not making an offering first because you may not fulfill your part of the deal, and I don't want to lose any money by giving any extra money than I have to the temple. Okay. So what, in that case, what are you taking refuge in? Is it in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha? I don't think so. I think your refuge, you know, we have three refuges. Ordinary people have three refuges. First one, your credit card. Yeah, your credit card is the source of happiness, isn't it? Then, second, your bank account. Yeah. And third, the refrigerator. Yeah, so, yeah, ordinary people, three objects of refuge, you know, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, yeah, credit card, bank account, refrigerator. Actually, ordinary people have more objects of refuge. They have a fourth object of refuge, shopping center. Yeah? Oh, when I go to the shopping center, I am almost awakened. I feel so much joy. My heart is filled with the joy as I walk around the shopping center and think of everything that I can buy. But that object of refuge doesn't deliver, because when you have to pay for those things in the shopping center, then you aren't happy anymore. Oh, they're charging so much now. How dare they raise the price? Yeah, I should get a special deal. Why? Because I'm me. Okay, so we need to do some work to get clarity on our spiritual practice. So that's why we say refuge and bodhicitta. Then the next thing we do, is the four immeasurables. Okay, so may all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. Okay, notice the word all. Yeah, it doesn't say may all the people who are nice to me and approve of me and give me presents have happiness and its causes. It just says all. Okay. Second one, may all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. So it doesn't say, may me and my family be free of suffering and its causes, and may the people I don't like have as much suffering as possible. Yeah, it doesn't say that. It says all. That means even the people we don't like, even the people who have harmed us, we're wishing them happiness. Because if you think about it, if they were happy, they wouldn't be harming other people. If people harm other people, it's because they're unhappy. Yeah, if they were happy, they wouldn't backbite and steal and lie and so on. They only do that because they're miserable. So they're actually objects of our compassion. Yeah. The third, may all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. Sorrowless bliss refers to nirvana. Yeah, the cessation of all of our dukkha, our unsatisfactory conditions, our misery, and its causes. Okay? And nirvana is also the not only the cessation of the mental afflictions, but it is also, from another viewpoint, the nature of reality. Okay? And then fourth, may all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. So this one is really beautiful. Yeah. May, whenever we look at any sentient being, may we see them free of all of our opinions about them. Because we have so many opinions about other people. Yeah. And we usually throw them into the friend category, who we help, the enemy category, who we hate, and the stranger category, who we don't care about, as long as they don't bother us. Yeah, if they bother us, then they move into the enemy category. If they're nice to us, they move into the friend category. Okay, so this, when we have equanimity in our mind, we're free of attachment and aversion and apathy, and we have an open heart towards everybody. Think about that for a minute. Wouldn't it be nice whenever you saw any living being that you just had an open heart? Yeah. That you, the first thing that came to mind is, why do they part their hair like that? Why are they wearing those clothes? They have such a sour expression on their face. I don't like them. Okay. Or what can I get out of that person? They look rich. Okay. So we're free from all of that stuff. We just see a living being who's just like us, who wants to be happy and not suffer. Yeah, wouldn't that feel nice? To just have that kind of attitude whenever you saw somebody. Hello out there, I'm asking you a question. I'm expecting an answer. Not. If you answer me, then I don't know what's going on. Okay. So we'll do those two, starting with refuge and bodhicitta. Then we'll have a little bit of silent meditation, okay, and set our motivation. Okay, so let's do some breathing meditation. Sit up straight. And then your hands, the right and the left, thumbs touching. Lower your eyes and become aware of your breath. So just breathe normally. Don't deep breathe. Don't force your breath. Just let it be. But be aware of what's going on as you inhale, what goes on as you exhale. And it can be very helpful to be aware of the impermanent nature of your breath. How the breath is not one thing. It's a series of moments. It's changing all the time. And there's no way that we can make the breath stay still. So just be aware. If you get distracted, don't get mad at yourself. Just bring your attention back home to the breath. So your breath is like home. Yeah, if your mind wanders, you bring it back. Just like you bring back a little kid when it starts to wander away. So if you want to, you can also focus at your belly. Be aware of the rise and fall of your belly as you inhale and exhale. Or you can be aware of the sensation on your lower lip and the sensation of the air passing your lower lip into your nostrils as you inhale and exhale. Okay, so let's do that for a few minutes. So we'll do a little meditation on freeing our mind from anger. So think of somebody that you don't like, somebody who harmed you or threatened you. So think of a specific individual. And then think about that person's life. Yeah. Are they always happy? What is their health like? Are they always healthy? Do things always go well for them? And what about aging, sickness, and death? Are they prepared for those? So when you think of a person you don't like, do not tell yourself again the story of what they did to harm you. that's irrelevant at this point. Think about their life and what it's like, and the problems they have, the dissatisfaction they have, even the hurt that they feel when other people are not kind to them. So take a moment and think about that. And then think, wouldn't it be wonderful if they were free of that suffering? Wouldn't it be wonderful if they had good health and their finances were in good shape, their family was peaceful? And imagine them being happy and contented, not dissatisfied, but really contented. And just imagine them like that. And what would that be like? And wish them to be contented and happy. And when you think about that person being happy and feeling more secure. And let go of your anger towards them, because you understand that when they are happy, they have no reason to harm you or anybody else. And then slowly come out of your meditation. Okay. You feel different about that person now? Or did you just have a nice nap? If you take time and really think things through using the methods that the Buddha teaches, then you'll find that you can actually change your mood. And you can change how you look at a situation. You can change how you relate to a person. Yeah. So we don't get ourselves stuck in just saying, well, this person is like this, and that person is like that, and that's it. Okay, so this person I always like because they're nice to me. This person I always hate because they're mean to me. And what's for lunch? You know, like I got everybody in their proper, well, I don't know if it's proper, but I got everybody in a category. So now I know who they are. Actually, people are very, very complicated. Do you want people to put you in a category and think they know everything about you? No, of course not. Yeah. We're people, multi-dimensional people. Yeah. And actually, what's really interesting to discover is we have many contradictory attitudes, many contradictory emotions. One day we're happy, one day we're miserable. One day we're kind to people, one day we manipulate them. Yeah? We're changing all the time. Yeah? And our mind is actually not so stable. We think it's other people who are not so stable. They're the ones that change their mind and now you can't depend on. But us, we don't see ourselves that way. We are always kind, right? And predictable and so wonderful to other people that everybody should just adore us, right? That's how we see ourselves. Yeah? Is that the reality of the situation? Yeah. Are there some people when you know you're going to see them today, but one day when you meet them, they're very talkative, and the next day they're like shut down. Yeah. Or one day, they're really sympathetic. If you want to talk to them at some problem that you have, they're really sympathetic and empathetic. And then the next day, they just don't have time. It's like, go away. Yeah? Do you know people like that? Where, you know, when you see them every day, you're not quite sure who is there that day. Yeah, because they're very moody, and you don't know what their mood is going to be. Okay. But we're not like that, are we? No, we're not like that. Never like that. Yeah? We are always calm, open to other people, never in bad moods. Yeah, we never take our bad moods out on other people, do we? Yeah? Yeah, you do? You take your, no, you don't. Somebody else says they do. We'll watch and see, maybe you do, and you just won't own it. Yeah? How about in your family? Do you have family members who take their bad mood out on other people in the family? But you're not that person, are you? It's other people, when you have a family dinner, that start the quarreling. Yeah. Do you have family members that every time you have a big family member, big family dinner, you know that these two people are going to quarrel? Yeah? Do you have families like that? Yeah. It's like, you know, every Sunday night when we have dinner, you know, my brother and my sister. But me, oh, I'm so kind. I never do that unless they need it and they deserve it, right? Yeah, because sometimes they really act terrible, and for their own benefit, I have to tell them what they're doing wrong. Otherwise, they will torment other people by keeping on doing that. So when I yell and scream at them, I do it out of compassion. Anybody here like that? No. No. Okay. So when we really are honest with ourselves and, you know, look deeply at how we act, we begin to see that we're pretty much like everybody else. We want to be happy. We don't want to suffer. But we don't know what the actual causes of happiness are and the actual causes of suffering are. So in our attempt to create the causes for happiness, because we don't understand what they are, we often create the cause for suffering instead. Okay, let me give you an example. Oh, there's so many examples. Which one? Okay, let's pretend you're building a building. Okay, you're constructing a building. And the contractor, you know, has a plan, and it looks good, and they tell you how much money it's going to cost, and that's reasonable. And then they start the project, and as they keep doing the project, they say, oh, we forgot to add this onto the bid. So it's going to be another, I don't know the exchange rate in Malaysia, but, you know, it's going to be another, can I use US dollars? So it's going to be another $25,000. And then the next week, it's like, oh, you know, we also forgot this. So that's going to be another $30,000. And the week after that is, you know, the engineer didn't design this properly. So when we built it, it wasn't built correctly. So we have to undo what we did. It's the engineer's fault, not our fault. Yeah. And we have to do it again. And that one, we're really sorry. It's going to be $50,000. Yeah. So each week, you know, there's something that happens like that. And each week, you're really trying to control your temper. But boy, oh boy, it is hard. Yeah. Because you want to be happy. You don't want to suffer. And all the suffering that's coming when you're building this building is because of the contractor or the engineer. I didn't do anything, and they're expecting me to pay for their mistakes. Right? Right? Yeah. And I'm just trying to be happy, and they are a bunch of jerks. And I better tell them how their job is unsatisfactory, because otherwise they will treat other people like that too. Yeah. So I am full of compassion. I don't want anybody else to experience what I've experienced with these dimwit contractors. Okay? So I'm going to give them a piece of my mind for their own benefit. Yeah. And I give them a piece of my mind. It's like Los Alamos and the atomic bomb, you know, when they tried the atomic bomb. Yeah. But it's really to help those people. Me? Yeah, out of compassion. Yeah. Same way with my children. Why do I smack my children and beat with them with a belt? It's so that they'll learn manners. But I'm not angry. They just drive me crazy sometimes. Do your kids drive you crazy? Yeah, sometimes. You love them dearly, but sometimes, my mother used to say, I want to break your neck. Yeah. That was when she was in a good mood. You know, and you yell and scream at your kids, and then you wonder why your kids don't want to talk to you. Okay, so what this is we're trying to be happy, and we think our mistake is that our happiness and our misery come from outside, other people, the physical environment, something else. We think my happiness and happiness, they're impinging on me. Me? I'm just this sweet, innocent thing. Yeah. And then this contractor comes along. Yeah. So any normal person would explode at this contractor. Actually, what we're missing, what we're misconceiving, is our happiness and our suffering is not coming outside from other people. Yeah. It's coming because, it's coming in two ways. One way, because of karma, the actions that we've done in previous times. And another way, because of our attitude now in this life and how we're looking at the situation. Okay, so in terms of karma, when we have done things with a motivation of kindness, with ethical conduct, with forgiveness, with a feeling of generosity and compassion, then we plant good seeds in our mind, and those seeds will ripen in happiness in the future. When we act out of spite, holding grudges, jealousy, arrogance, then we harm others, and at the same time, we are planting seeds in our own mind for our own misery. So Buddha did not make this up. Buddha just described that when you plant daisies, you get daisy flowers. You don't get chili pepper. When you plant chili pepper, you get chili pepper. You don't get daisies. Okay, so there's a relationship between our motivation and the kind of action we do and the result, the karmic result that action brings. Okay, but since we often don't even think about that, what is the result of my action going to be, then because we don't think about that, then whatever emotion comes in our mind, boo, we act it out. And if we feel like being nice, we're nice. If we don't feel like being nice, boy, we trash the other people. Okay, and we don't realize that when we harm others, we're harming ourselves by planting those kind of seeds in our mind. And when we are kind and help to others, we are planting the seeds of happiness in our own mind. So we don't realize that our actions have an ethical dimension. When we start to understand that, then we start to slow down and check what our intention is, what our motivation is, before we act. Because we see that the result of the action isn't just what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. The result of the action could happen in 5 years, 50 years, next lifetime. Okay? But because we want happiness and not suffering, then we take care to create the causes for happiness, not the causes for suffering. Okay? So that's one way in which it shows that our happiness and suffering is coming from in here. We're creating the karma, the actions that are going to bring that result. Another way that we can see that our happiness and suffering come from in here is by looking at examining how we look at situations right now. Okay? So there's a story in one of the texts about a man who had 2 wives. Okay? And both of the wives had children. So one day, or one night, I should say, one of the wives heard somebody in the kitchen, making something, clunking the dishes around, making a racket. Nobody should be in the kitchen because it's quite late at night. But she thought, oh, this is my child. It's my child in the kitchen. My child is hungry. It's okay that they make that noise and that they're in the kitchen making something even when nobody's supposed to be there. Okay? But when she turns on the light, she sees that it's the other wife's child in the kitchen. And she says, what are you doing here? You know, nobody's supposed to be making something at this hour of the day or night. What are you doing here? You're not being very, very respectful. Okay? So when it's somebody's own child, oh, it's okay that they do this. Yeah, I want my child to be happy. When it's the other person's child, especially the other wife's child who you're jealous of, yeah, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, get out of here. The action is the same. Somebody's in the kitchen at the wrong time. But in one situation, it's okay, I want them to be happy. In the other situation, they shouldn't be there, you know, I want to take a stick and beat them. Okay? Situation's the same. We respond in two different ways. Yeah? One way of responding, we feel fine. You know, if you're the first wife and it's your own child, you just go back to bed and you feel good because your child is going to have something to eat. Yeah? If you look and it's the other wife's child, you're not going to go back to sleep peaceful. You're going to think the whole rest of the night, I got to talk to that wife. I've got to talk to our husband. I've got to talk to that child who's going and doing this. And you ruminate the whole rest of the night because you're so mad. And you're so mad you don't even sleep. So you want to be happy, but you're making yourself suffer right then and there. Yeah, because you're not sleeping and you're angry the whole rest of the night. And nobody is happy when they're angry. It's interesting, isn't it? Why, if one person does it, it's okay. If another person does the same thing, it's not okay. Yeah. What's the difference? Yeah. If somebody comes in this room, and let's say there's a person over there, yeah, and they come in the room and they look at that person and they say, what are you doing? You know, we were working together on a project and you're part of the team and you didn't show up. And then at the end of the project, when the boss comes to look at everything, then you show up and you claim that you supervised the whole thing and everything turned out well because of you. But you're just a big, fat liar. Okay, somebody comes in the room and says that to that person. Okay, now if that person's my friend, that person's getting pretty upset. They just got told off, yeah, in front of all of you. So that person's upset. That person's my friend. I say, it's okay. This guy who came in and said that, he's just in a bad mood. He's just taking it out on you. You didn't do anything. It's no reflection on you. Don't get bent out of shape. Just calm down. Okay, and I forget about it. But if the same person comes in the room and instead of looking over there, they look at me and they say the exact same words, do I respond in the same way? Because what just happened is bordering on a national catastrophe. Yeah? This is worse than the country being invaded by Martians. Yeah? Nobody can speak to me that way. And I am furious. Yeah. And I give that person a piece of my mind too. So by this time, I don't have much of my own mind left because I've given it away to all these jerks. Okay? What's the difference? Why is it no big deal if they say it to my friend, but if they say the same words to me, it's a super big deal? Why? What's the difference? Yeah. It's just because one thing was about somebody else and the other one was about me. And anything that happens to me is of world-shaking meaning. Yeah. Why? Because I happen to be the center of the universe. And the universe should be kind to me because I am such a pleasant person to be around. Sometimes. Yeah. So how I look at the situation in that very moment influences whether I'm happy or miserable. Yeah. And it also influences whether I create good karma, being empathetic to my friend, or rather whether I create bad karma, telling off that person who accused me wrongly of doing that. Because you know, anytime anybody accuses me of something bad, I did not do it. Yeah, I did not do it. I do not make mistakes. Yeah. I don't make mistakes. It's always somebody else's fault. Yeah. And this is so interesting because even when I was a kid and I got in trouble, yeah, it was always my brother's fault. And they blamed me. This world is so unfair. Yeah? He always started when we fought. It was always his fault. And I got blamed because I was the oldest one. Yeah? And I said, but Mom, Dad, he started it. And they said, I don't care, you're the oldest one, you should know better. But he started it. Yeah? Yell at him. Don't yell at me. They didn't do what I wanted them to do. Yeah, I wanted my parents to yell at my brother because I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just sweet, innocent me. You know, okay. You know, we were dividing the food, and I was the one dividing it because I was the older one. So I just took a little bit more than I gave to him. Yeah, because I'm older, I need more food. Yeah. And he's little, he should learn to sacrifice. But they always, you know, so I did that, but that's not a big deal. Yeah. So why am I getting yelled at? Because he complained about what I did. Yeah. You have things like that in your life? When we, you know, we don't really make big mistakes. We just lie a little bit. Yeah. Our lies are very small ones. And we do them so that we don't hurt other people's feelings. Right? So when I lie, it's out of kindness. When politicians lie, oh my God, these idiots, they think they can pull something over on the public. But when I lie, it's okay. It's okay, no problem. I'm doing it out of compassion. And my lies are just itty-bitty lies. But when people lie to me, they're telling me big lies. Yeah. Yeah. This is our situation, isn't it? Yeah. When you're at the center of the universe, you suffer so much because the rest of the world doesn't realize you're the center of the universe. And if they only realized that I was the center, that everything I did was okay, and it's always other people's fault, if they only realized that, yeah, we could live together so much more peacefully. And furthermore, I have a little bit of advice for everybody. You know, because as the center of the universe, I am very wise. Yeah. Yeah. Did you know when I was 16, I was almost omniscient like the Buddha? Yeah. Because when you're 16, yeah, do you remember being 16? Were you almost omniscient when you were 16? Did you know more than your parents when you were 16? You didn't? Oh, I did. I knew more than my parents the whole time. But you know what's really weird? As my parents got older, they got smarter. How did that happen? Yeah? But when I was 16, my parents were really dumb. Yeah? I had curfews, what time I had to be home. That's unfair. Because my brother, when he became a teenager, he didn't have those same curfews. I had to be home earlier than he did. He got to stay out later. Yeah. And I didn't become what my parents wanted me to be. I followed what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a nun. Yeah, I wanted to devote my life to the Dharma. My parents said, "Hey, what did we do wrong? Oh, you were supposed to be a doctor. You did so well in school. You were supposed to be a doctor." What do I say to my friends? Yeah, my daughter shaved her head. She wears the same clothes every day. When their daughters, one is a doctor, one's a lawyer, one is a businesswoman, oh, what do I do? Yeah. And my brother, you know what he did? He became a doctor. Did exactly what Mom and Dad wanted. And I was the failure. Yeah, but I told you, my parents got wiser when they got older. So even though at the beginning I was a failure, they did not want to see me, they did not want to talk to me. After a while, I came back to live in the States, and people were inviting me to go places to give teachings. Yeah. And then I heard my mom on the telephone with a friend saying, "Yes, They invited her to another city to go give teachings to the public at a lecture hall. And they picked her up at the airport. Yeah, and they housed her and they gave her food. That's my daughter. And I even saw a flyer announcing what my daughter was doing. I'm so proud of her. Yeah, see, so your parents can grow up. Yeah, give them some time, they'll grow up. Okay, so my whole point here is how we look at a situation is the key factor to how we experience it. It's not an objective reality out there. It's how we look at it that we help create the reality we experience. First, because we create the karma that will ripen in terms of what happens outside. But second, because of how we interpret what is happening outside. That makes a big difference. The secret that the Buddha taught us is that if we want to be happy, we have to transform our own attitude. We have to be more careful, more conscientious about what we say, what we think, and what we do. Yeah? Because we're the ones who create our happiness and suffering. It's not somebody else. Yeah? And we are not, so the Buddha does not reward us. The Buddha does not punish us. Yeah? The Buddha has incredible compassion and wants us to be happy. The Buddha is trying desperately to teach us what are the causes of happiness, what are the causes of suffering, so that we can create one and abandon the other. But we're often very, very distracted. And whatever the Buddha says, we say, I don't have time for that. It's too difficult. Yeah, stop lying, too difficult. Yeah, stop my anger, too difficult. I just have a temper. I was born with a temper. My family just has to live with it, that's all. Yeah, I can't control my temper. Is that true? That your family just has to live with your temper? That they're stuck with it? Yeah. You give yourself permission to be angry, but you don't give anybody else to be permission to be angry at you? Doesn't sound so fair. Okay? So it's possible to change our mind. You know, the first key is to really notice what's going on in our mind and notice how that affects what we say and what we do. Yeah. And, you know, that slowing down and noticing gives us a lot of information. And then we begin to go, oh, now I understand why that person doesn't like me so much, because I'm not very polite to them. Yeah? They invite me out to lunch. I never say thank you. I order the most expensive things and I never offer to treat them. And when they pay for it, I never say thank you. Oh, maybe that's why they don't ask me out to lunch anymore. I'm a little bit greedy and inconsiderate. Yeah. When I'm greedy, I think I'm creating the cause of wealth because I'm keeping all my money for me and my family, so we will have more. But according to the law of karma, when I'm greedy and I act like that, I'm actually creating the cause for being poor. Because generosity is the cause of wealth. When I share things, when I'm generous, I create the cause for wealth. I create the cause for happiness. Yeah? When all I'm doing is thinking about myself, and this is mine, I know you're coughing, but this is my cough drop. And I might need it later, so I'm not going to give it to you. You can just sit there and cough. Actually, you're making noise while I'm giving a talk. You go outside and cough. But this is my cough drop, so don't you eye it like you want it. Okay? And this is my packet of tissues. Yeah. My packet of tissue. Yeah, I'm not going to share them. Yeah, these are very expensive tissues. Yeah, I paid for them. These are the best quality tissues. Aren't you happy to be with me because I am so rich I can afford the best quality tissues? But yeah, you don't have that kind of money, and I'm not going to share my tissues with you. So just do something when you have to blow your nose. Yeah, figure it out yourself. Okay. So, what our motivation is really creates, it creates how people treat us now, and it creates the karma for what kind of rebirth we'll have in the future, what kind of habitual actions we'll do in the future, what kind of circumstances and how other people will treat us, and even what kind of environment we're born in. Okay? So we're the ones responsible for our happiness and suffering, and there is something we can do about it. And the Buddha, out of compassion, spent a lot of time teaching what the cause of happiness is and what the cause of suffering is. Yeah. Okay. So we have a few minutes for questions and maybe answers. Okay. Yeah, if the Buddha is wanting our ultimate happiness, why there's a mantra that is said to bring wealth? Yeah? Okay. Well, that's the mantra we all want. Yeah. And Zambala is supposed to be the deity of wealth. Oh boy, we want to, we'll do all sorts of things for Zambala. We want to be rich. But the Buddha taught us to be generous. And here we are being stingy and being greedy. Okay? I think when the Buddha was teaching something like that, first of all, the ultimate reason to practice Tara, whatever color Tara you practice, is to attain full awakening, is to realize the nature of reality, to generate the bodhicitta that aspires for full awakening, we want to free our mind from anger and greed. I mean, the Buddha's ultimate intention is for our long-term happiness. Why teach that? It's kind of like, look, you want this? Then come here, And we become interested, but then we start to listen to the Buddha's teachings and we start to practice them. And that's what actually changes. Or it could be that when you want to build a temple, or you want to build a house, a home for the elderly, or you want to build a hospital, yeah. So you want to do something that is for the good of the public, yeah. And sometimes you need money to do that. So you ask a form of the Buddha to help in that respect so that you could do a virtuous project. Okay? But if you think that all you have to do is chant yellow mantra, Tara, and the wealth, the money is going to fall from heaven on you, or it's going to grow on the trees somehow, yeah, then it's propaganda. Yeah, it's not going to be that way. Sometimes you read something about one Buddha form, and it says, if you, well, like Amitabha Buddha, there's some text, I don't know which text, that says, if you say Namo Amitabha 10 times, you will be born in Sukhavati, the Amitabha's Pure Land. Yeah? So everybody goes, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha. Okay, I did it 10 times. I'm not doing it 11 or 12. Okay, I fulfilled the quota. Now let's go and cheat somebody in my business so I can get more money. Yeah, but I did my 10 Amitabhas. Yeah. So I asked, one time I had the opportunity to talk to His Holiness Dalai Lama about these things. And I said, you know, sometimes you find texts that say things like that. What's the story? You know, because it does not make sense to me, you know, that you say Namo Amitabha 10 times and then you act with outrageous behavior and cheat people, that then you're born in Amitabha's Pure Land. I would think you would go to prison, you know, not Sukhavati. And His Holiness said, oh, that's just propaganda. Yeah. Or he didn't say it is propaganda. He said that's like propaganda. Okay. So in other words, some way to attract people, but what you're really trying to do is help them because you have a good motivation. Okay. Other questions? Tough love, yeah. Oh, could I speak to that? Yeah. Yeah. First of all, it has to be love. Yeah, if it's not love and you just call it tough love, but there's no love, then it's just tough. Yeah, it's like biting into something. You know, you can't chew it. So just calling it tough love doesn't mean it's love. You have to really look inside your heart and really care for the other person. Yeah, from your heart. Now, this is the tricky point. There's a big difference between caring for somebody from your heart and wanting to change them so that they're nicer for you to be around. Okay, there's a difference there. When we really care about somebody, we sometimes have to say things that are true, yeah, that are difficult for them to hear, but we tell them that we're really caring about it, and we know that it might be difficult for them to hear, but we care and we want to help them, and we're sincere. Okay, that's tough love. Okay. Yeah. Fake tough love is, you know, that relative of mine is just, oh my God, they are so inconsiderate. Why do I have a family like that? You know, these people, they're always coming asking me for money, one right after the other. Why don't they go out and get a job and leave me alone? You know, I can't stand it. So I have some advice for them. Yeah? And I go and I sit down and I say, you know, you're always coming and asking me for money. I've been so generous to you. You are fully capable of working. Stop drinking. Your drinking drives me crazy. It drives the rest of the family crazy. You know, you've got to stop and go out and get a job. Is that tough love? Do you think there's any love in that? Yeah, that's not tough love. That's, I want to change somebody. Yeah, I don't like the way they are. I want to change something. Because if I can change them, then my life is better. And they're just bugging me, always asking me for money. And I'm sick and tired of it. Okay, it looks like tough love, but it's not. Okay, so that's why looking at our motivation, checking our motivation, why we're doing something, is the most important part of any action we do. Yeah, to really check, why am I doing this? And make sure it's a good intention. Okay. Yeah? Okay, so this, how many people here get anxious? How many people are not telling the truth? How many people get anxious? Oh, a few of you are like, this is, I can only get my hand up this far. Sorry. Okay, so anxiety is something very common, okay? Shantideva is one of the very great 8th century Buddhist sages. He wrote this wonderful book called Guide to a Bodhisattva's Way of Life, or Engaging in the Bodhisattva's Deeds. Wonderful book. There's a verse in his book that says, if you can do something about, if you have a problem, if you can do something about it, do it. Because if you do something about it, then there's no reason to be anxious, because you can do something about it. If you can't do anything about the problem, there's also no reason to be anxious, because you can't do anything. So just accept it. Yeah. This is very wise advice when you think about it. You know, if there's a problem and you can do something, do it. Put your energy in a good direction. If you can't do anything, because you can't control the situation, and there's a whole lot in life that we cannot control, then the only choice is to accept it and deal with it as it is. Yeah. But anxiety, getting all worried and fearful and thinking about it round and round and round and round, there's no use to that. So if you notice your mind starts doing that, then you just have to say, you know, cancel that thought. Yeah. Yeah, you have to have something that's an alarm in your mind, yeah, that says, oops, I'm going round in circles. I gotta just cancel that thought. Okay? So it's time for us to dedicate the merit. So there's some verses that we say, but first, just sit for a minute and let yourself feel happy about what you did this morning. That coming to a talk like this, you're hearing things that are good for you and good for others. You're thinking more deeply about your life and how to live a good life. So feel happy about the merit that you created, and also rejoice at the merit everybody here created, because we all created good karma, virtuous merit together this morning.